Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's enjoying their Friday. Hopefully, my volume's working. I've got a few computer issues I gotta take care of later, so we're kind of doing the podcast now. I do hear a lot of background noise. I got a fan going, so I might try to turn my gain down just a little bit. Hopefully, that works. Like I said, I got a few issues. Fine. Just a little bit more. Yeah, my HDMI port somehow switched to DVI port, and now I can't get fixed. And I tried to buy a UBS port HDMI adapter. Well, that doesn't want to work. But it's been a while since I've done a morning coffee and chat. And I feel a little bit better. I'm far from getting 100%. I had to venture out this morning because, like I said, it's been one of those weeks. I ended up having to go to the doctor's Wednesday, and this Monday and Tuesday of work still wasn't feeling good. I was dealing with some shortness of breath. So very sore raw throat. And a slight fever. So yeah, that first they tested me for COVID, negative. Then after gave the nurse practitioner all my symptoms, and she's like, "You get test you for strep." And with the fatigue I was having, I had a slight temp. They were like, "Well, I want to do get you some lab work, take some chest X-rays because they don't even know. I don't know. I felt fine other than getting sick. But yeah, I guess my pulse and heart rate was like 132, which I didn't notice it. But so I ended up having to get put on a 12 lead ECG, which came out just fine, normal. And they was checking for a blood clot in the lungs. Nope, that was clear. Now some of my blood work was kind of off. There were a few spots that were high. My white blood cell count was very high, which just means my body was doing what it's supposed to, fighting off infection. But yeah, so I ended up being ear infection, sinus infection, respiratory infection. I mean, the same thing I keep having issues with over the past year. Plus the very raw throat, which she figured I might have had. I think that's why she labeled them sinus infection since the strep came back negative. But it's been one of those weeks, and yesterday, plumbing problems for some odd reason. The sink out here worked just fine, but anything in the bathroom, the bath, the shower, the bathtub, water wouldn't drain, toilet wouldn't flush right. I woke up and it smelled like something died. So I've been messing with that all most of the day yesterday. Then I happened to go outside towards the afternoon and noticed my tire was going flat. So I had to take care of that this morning. Like I said, it's been one of those weeks. I still haven't quite fixed the plumbing yet. I figure one more thing, a Drano should fix that. But it just happened. Everything's been like other than the freezer I've had issues with. Everything else I haven't had an issue with until now. It's like, what the hell? I mean, I'm like only here for the weekends. Honestly, this is the first full week I've been actually here, just because of the price of gas and 2 hour commute. It's much easier to stay at my parents' house during the work week, which 3 days. I think the money has been tight, but I've rebounded best as I can. All right, cool. I'm just now seeing here. No, this is Bree. I guess Bree will be joining us. But yeah, it's been a kind of screwy week. Like I said, I know I'm not that well. I'm back on the inhaler again. I'm on a steroid, strong antibiotic. She's got me also drinking 2 glasses of liquid IV a day. Actually, that's just good. I mean, like I said, I cut out all the energy drinks. I do drink Powerade to help stay hydrated. Because that was the other issue. I was having a hard time, still struggling with hydration. I shouldn't be drinking coffee, but I haven't had coffee in like ages. And it's like, I just wanted to treat myself some good coffee. Because, yeah, I'm tired of drinking water. All I've been drinking is water, water, water. I just want something a little bit different. Well, I've been drinking tea and honey with growth. It's just been, like I said, those weeks, which is crappy because I just finally got a week's worth of vacation saved up. It's going to take 3 days off for Labor Day weekend and maybe make a trip to North Carolina. Won't be doing that now because I just used off the games I had built up. But nice thing is, won't be no points because I had vacation time built up, and doctor basically said I could go back to work for Monday. Well, technically, if we work tonight, I could go in tonight, but we don't. Thursday's my Friday, and she said absolutely not. Which, truthfully, from what little I did this morning, it was a good call. That's still not. I'm fine, just doing little stuff here and there, but getting out, doing a little shopping, stuff like that, that just took it out of me. Like I said, this year's been not the best one for me, but like I said, I made some accomplishments. Yeah, I haven't been fishing yet. Just couldn't afford it. You know? But I managed to get my bills caught back up. Now I gotta do some work on the Suburban. It needs an oil change. I need to redo my plug wires, coils, plugs. Definitely a brake job. And hopefully the green slime works so I don't have to replace the tire because I can't afford to replace tires on that thing. Even though come winter I'm gonna have to replace tires. And I can't complain. I got almost 2 years worth of wear on a set that was basically given to me. Because a couple years ago I had glowing 2 tires. I was spending a weekend with a friend, and she lived on a dirt road. And somehow I managed to slice 2 tires. To where now they said that the one just the sidewall was out, the other one had a gash in it, so I had to replace one. but they didn't have the tires in stock for the Suburban. And one of the workers there, younger kid, well, he's like, no, I might have a set back there, back at my house in my Jeep that I took off, and he's been sitting in my Jeep. He's like, I already drove him for like 3 months on him for like 3 months. I'm like, well, how much? What? No. He's like, well, just give me like $20 for all four of them. I ended up giving him like $50. I mean, good looking out. I mean, you just saved me basically $800. And I've got my wear out of it. You know, that's like I said before. Sometimes we forget, there's still people out there that are good Samaritans that aren't greedy, that they know what it's like, Of course, back then I really wasn't struggling. Back then, 2 paychecks, I could have got all four in the set. You know, that's the nice thing. It's like, man, I hate going to Walmart here where I live in Indiana. There's always this old man that standing right there by the light to turn in and leave. It's like, the days where I'll give him some buck and water, pop, whatever extra I have in the truck. If I got extra money, which, it's kind of hard these days. Most of us don't carry cash anymore. We kind of do live in a cashless society. I don't carry cash. Yes, might have $100 in the back of my phone. Break glass case emergency type deal, which I don't even have that. I had 200 in the back of the case. And it wasn't even this phone. It was my old phone that I completely forgot. But it was break glass, but I was like, oh shit, I forgot all about that. Right when I needed it. I mean, gas prices, it's still ridiculous. They say, oh, let's come down. No, it hasn't. Yes, it's gotten a little bit lower, but it is not down to where it used to be. That's one of the things I am sick and tired of. Is these politicians. They like to give you half truths. Not even truths, really, they're lies. Because it hasn't came down to where it used to be. There is inflation. We are in a recession. But because it's election cycle for most of Congress, they're spinning this lies and stuff. They can't and they can't even justify sending all the millions and billions that they've sent to Ukraine when the people here in the United States need it. Then, with all the normal talk, censorship, Steven Crowder just got suspended from YouTube again. Which I'm shocked he made it as far as he did, but they're hitting for having, I want to say Ricky, and it's not Ricky. Lake, but I can't remember her first name. Oh, because of the K, don't it? Carrie Lake. But the funny thing is, I watched that episode, and she was only on for like the last 15 minutes. Those that watch Louder or Crowder know he does the other last hour off YouTube. They're just paid subscribers. And I've seen some of the clips, and I honestly don't remember that clip that I seen yesterday. Was it Post Millennial or Daily Mail? I think it was Daily Mail. And showed where she was talking about certain things, election fraud, and all this. She was listening in basically chronological order, and everything she said was fact. Court cases have been won in the states she named. I mean, look, just yesterday, DeSantis in Florida, they issued the arrest for 20 people for election fraud, tampering with the elections. And there was something else dealing with Florida. This stuff happens. We still have dead people voting. It should not be that way. Oh, yeah, the other thing was a bunch of illegal immigrants were caught voting. which pisses me off because I don't have voting rights. I can't vote because I'm a convicted felon. But you'll let an illegal immigrant who illegally came here, which therefore committed a crime, vote. Well, if you want those, you can go back and get your gun rights and your voting rights back. Yeah, I looked into that. We're talking anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 to get my rights back that should have been given back to me. You know, I hate it when they talk prison reform. I hate it when they talk education reform. I mean, Wisconsin, my props to you. Banning any form of politics, propaganda, Black Lives Matter, pride flags, or things referring that in the classroom. I commend fucking people, Wisconsin. Best thing you could have done. And I'm going to tell you what. If you can't say the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag and have a moment of silence that you took out in the 90s in the classroom, there is no place for a Black Lives Matter flag, a pride flag, or political propaganda in those classrooms. They are there to be taught proper education, how to read, write, do math, real, truthful history, not Common Core bullshit where we took the shit out that you guys deem isn't what America is today, because America wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for our past and our history. That's what we need to see start taking place in every state. In fact, we need to bring back the Pledge of Allegiance. We need to bring back prayer, a moment of silence. We'll use that for those that want to go off and pray, whatever their faith and beliefs are. We need to stop teaching transgenderism. Basic sex education. Basically, how not to get someone pregnant. If the parents approve. But all this other crap does not need to be taught in our school systems. They don't need to be taught in our colleges. Unless you make them electoral, I don't know what it's called. Been too long. Not main curriculum, something you take on the side. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but these curriculums, they're indoctrination centers. They've always been. But they're far worse. Especially, as I discussed in the 6-hour video I did Saturday, how they've stripped parents of all their rights to parent. That's how we got here. Our kids, our next generation, have been taught the right history. And you have a 9-year-old saying the Boston Tea Party what happened, or call it shoppered around the world over their ride, which that's not totally factual, because there was many Paul Revere's that made that ride. Like I said, my generation was taught most of our history correctly. There were still parts that were missing. You just have to search for it. Want to study your history. Want to study the world's history. That's important too. Any other country, most any other country, will not tolerate people illegally coming in their country. China won't. They'll shoot them. Colombia and Brazil, that's a no-go border. It's patrolled. You will be shot on sight. If you're Brazilian trying to cross into Colombia, if you're Colombian trying to cross into Brazil, you will be shot on sight. No questions asked. You can't illegally go into Britain or Europe. But no, if we try to enforce our laws and regulations, you're racist. No, call it for what it is. It's an invasion. when you start getting mass people from other countries pouring legally into your country, it hurts the economics. It brings diseases and pandemics. And that's actual part of warfare. Now, don't get me started on the trafficking of children that's taking place from going both ways across the borders. But we have another form of trafficking. We have private contractors, military, using planes and helicopters to transport kids to various cities in the United States illegally because they're ordered to by our president, our Congress. We've had Democrats openly say, "Come over. We'll take you. Come on over." Our problems today is because of a greedy, corrupt government and establishment that has gotten way too big for its britches. We don't need all those people in Congress. We don't need all these agencies that they keep creating. That is just a suck hole for our national debt. So they can say the money's going here, but it's not. I mean, look at that. We can't even police and govern the IRS. But yet they wanted to approve and allow the IRS to hire more people, arm them, when they should have no business being armed. They have no business being in the field doing anything unless it's with the proper authorities of that state and the FBI. Al Capone. They weren't armed. They were with Elliot Ness, the Untouchables. You guys know the story. They made a movie out of it, but it was actually factual. That's how they built their case. This country, we've allowed things in this country, we allowed these politicians to go too far. They're out of control. They've gotten to the point so out of control where if you go against the status quo, they'll start labeling you with labels. You know my thing with labels. I love labels. Just so you guys know, I wasn't really paying attention when I started this. Anybody's listening, but when we reach the hour mark, it will stop. I am going to go on a little past the hour mark. Let's see if I fish my coffee. Plus, I'm killing some time before I get the meds. And I got 2 things I want to talk about. So we'll go past the hour mark. Well, we're not going to go past maybe 2, hopefully. I have no intentions of going that far. The only way that happens is we get a couple people that might want to pop in. But, I have a few issues and things too. We got people that want to talk about trending things, about people getting fired from CNN, whatnot. That's not news to me. I could care less. I could care less what CNN does say and reports. I don't care who got fired from there because they're not credible. They lie too many times. They're politically driven by propaganda, by the establishment that gave them the permission to do it. I'd much rather come on here, listen to other people, like Tim Pool, D. Rich, run D. Rich Does podcast, and the various others. There's a bunch I listen to from both sides. You just can't have one perspective. You got to have everybody's perspective. You can't judge a person by their label that's been given to them. that's meant to divide them from everybody else. We got to get past this division that they created. We got to get past this whites are racist, blacks aren't racist, Hispanics, Asians, all this so-called hate. Yes, is there still forms out there of racism and hate? Yes, there is. But it's not as big as they want. The only reason it's gotten bigger is because they've created it. That's the problem. If we want to start pointing fingers about racism and hate, let's point the fingers where it truly belongs, and the people that have created the issue and the problem that keep pushing the agenda and the propaganda. And that is our government, our federal government. So in some cases, their state governments. Now, I've talked about this too. And I made it good and clear in my comments on Black Buck. All lives matter. That's it. Back to blue. I'll start backing in blue when the blue starts getting rid of the ones that are Republicans, the ones that are corrupt. Now, I'll back the ones I know aren't, but it comes down to some of the things we discussed the other day. If you don't police your own, you don't remove the bad apples, then you're just as guilty. How can you expect people to trust you and respect you if you're allowing this to continue to go on? It's the same systematic cesspool that we have in Congress. They do not police their own. They do not bring up ethic violations. You know what? That needs to be removed from Congress. That power needs to be stripped from them. It is we, the people, that's supposed to have final say. If our politicians they're not doing their job, we should be able to remove them and demand a new representative be voted in an emergency election. That's one way to start fixing the problems. Same way with our judges. If they ethically violate the oaths that they take it, they should be immediately removed by the people. Not having to wait the full cycle to go to their next voting time. Same way with DAs and prosecutors. Now, we have a bunch of flawed and broken systems. Some of the systems are it's a simple phrase. Not simple, but you know what I mean. Give the control back to the people. That's what it was meant to be. The people were meant to have the say. We call them representatives because they're our representatives. They're not representing us, and they're doing things that we disapprove or violates the promises, the campaign promises that they made. And they should be held accountable. Not by their own, because their own cannot police themselves. It's proven. We've had many ethic violations where congressmen and women should have been removed already. These are the type of topics we should be talking about. Why is this corruption keeps going happening? How are these congressmen and women becoming millionaires while they take office? And I use AOC as a perfect example. She bitched, cried, whined that she couldn't afford to live in D.C. Well, now she can afford to live in D.C. in a nice, I imagine, nice apartment complex, or maybe she's finally bought her a place. Take vacations to Florida because her state is forcing mask mandates, and she can't sit out on the street at a table and have a meal and worry about having to wear a mask. They're such hypocrites. But there's no way with the salary she makes that she should have ever be a multimillionaire. I mean, look at that's the reason why a bunch of these politicians have become career politicians, lifelong politicians. Look at Pelosi. Look at Schumer. Schmidt. They influence their state laws that help keep them in. too much money flowing to Congress that's not going where it's supposed to. They just keep changing the name over the years. Federal spending, lobbyists, and the terminology goes on and on. Bribery. It's influencing politicians. Back in the 80s, 90s, it was the oil tycoons. Now it's the corporate investors who's bought big stocks and shares in corporations such as Walmart, Amazon, Google, Apple, many of which probably hold shares in Elon Musk's Tesla. Now we have social media that's went and entered the foray. Some of them's not done well, some of them's done all right. But we've seen advertisers come in, force their control. Well, that person's not advertising friendly. You need to demonetize them, suspend them for what they're saying. They've lost control of their platform. They've given their control to the advertisers, people that bring in their money, paying them. All the while, the rich keep getting rich and the poor keeps getting poorer. The middle class has been decimated. It's only going to get worse come winter, when we really start seeing the effects of how bad our summer crops have failed. Whether it's because of weather or the government paying them not to plant. In many cases, that was the case. In many cases, the weather. I've seen it firsthand. With all that weather and stuff, a lot of those farmers, I don't blame them if they took the money from the government not to plant this year, because it would have been too late. Our corn crop this year is going to be down so bad it's going to be scary. Thankfully, some farmers, okay, we're not going to be able to get our corn out, but we'll get some soybean in or some wheat, so we get a couple harvests. We have not seen the worst or the end of the price hikes in our grocery stores. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, stuff that I was paying $5, $6, $1 is now double that. It's ridiculous. People can't afford it. I mean, it's forced companies, factories and companies to increase pay, which it's kind of a good thing. We needed increased pay for a long time. The increased pay doesn't mean anything because now we're still paying more than what we were. I've explained this many times. That $2 gallon of gas or $2 gallon of milk jumped up to $5-7. They raised your pay. Well, when you increase your pay, you increase your tax bracket. You pay more taxes. They've increased taxes up there. So that pay raise you got, the grocery stores, your businesses increase the prices to match the pay. So now you're still paying more because of the taxes. So therefore, you're still getting less. It's actually simple, common fucking mathematics. People aren't getting ahead. They're either barely making it or just staying even. It's just barely making it because you're only getting your needs. You can't afford your wants. And if you do, you're sacrificing something. But I hate to go back to the obvious. Congress had no problem sending billions of dollars to Ukraine that just did it here recently. With all the problems we have with the homeless vets, Their attention should be on America, not some third world fucking country that we have no business even doing anything with. They're not an ally. They're not part of NATO. Now we got politicians pushing that dangerous envelope with Taiwan. You know, although they should have every right to go there. But we don't have a strong president. We have a weak president, an illegitimate president. So all this is doing is sparking more conflict between China and us, China and Taiwan. They're pushing for a war, which is scary because they look how many people that Biden from our military they forced out because of the vaccine mandate, which don't fucking work. A lot of good, strong men and women were forced out of the military. A lot of our top-ranking military officials were forced out. We don't want a war. We don't want a war when they've lowered the standards for what it needs to get in the military. They want betas, they don't want alphas. They don't want people that's going to remember what the oaths they take to serve and protect this country. This country, from foreign and domestic. They don't want those that are going to go in there and protect domestic. They want those who are going to go be submissive and do what they're told. That's not a military. That's scary. And we're spread out again. Which I do find it interesting. Because just this week, Wednesday when I went back to Ohio, the doctors, talk about military convoys, transports being out on the interstate. I left here at 12, around 11, now around 10. And that's all I've seen on the other side of the interstate. I figured by the time I got back, I hit Fort Wayne around 7. I figured by then, no, I still ran into military convoys. Don't know where they were going. I noticed air traffic while I go outside for break at work has increased in my area. I lived in that area. Late night air traffic used to be nil. It's increased. We know it's not people flying because we've seen the numbers there. But where I live in northwestern Ohio, so my opinion, that more military area for air traffic. And it's night flights. You don't see that air traffic during the day. So it makes you question and wonder if it's not the normal airplane. Commercial travel. Flight paths. So keep on paying attention. A bunch of people we talked to, they noticed it too. So, we live in some scary times right now. Some of that could be easily fixed by minding our own goddamn business. By not having nothing to do with Ukraine. Not instigating with China. But what does war do? War makes money. I know many say, not in this day and age. You're wrong. It does. It makes money in the technology industry. It makes money in weapon sales. It makes money for the banks and the investors because they play both sides of the fence. Every war, we've seen it. Now the Fords got rich, and a bunch of other ones that we know names of. They played both sides of the fence. They sold their stuff to both sides. War makes money, not for the little people, not for us, but for the corporations, the banks, the investors, the weapon manufacturers, the automotive industries that switch over and start building parts for our military. But it ain't us that makes the money. We're the ones that always suffer. We're the ones that always lose in the war. The other thing what war does is population control, especially when the war is on a global scale. It helps reduce the population. It is a form of weaponized genocide, is what warfare is. Think about all the talk we have about needing to reduce the population. All the UN agendas. And all this stuff's become more in your face, blatantly in your face now. But hey, we don't question it. We don't want to see it. No, because we've become so numb to it. And that's the truth. Repetition is a dangerous psychological warfare game. If you talk about something long enough, you become numb to it. Or you just, oh, yeah, whatever. You hear it's too much. So therefore, the objective in meditation and certain things, when you focus upon something or repeat something until you forget it. But you don't forget it, it just becomes action without thought. It happens. Because it's subconscious. It's also how you learn to pick up on trigger things. Things that are psychological, basically part of psychological and spiritual warfare. Because that's what's taking place. They are messing with you spiritually. So they're messing with you psychically. Your mind is psychically, and subconscious and your conscious, they're influencing you. They're changing your opinions and making you numb to something. That's why it was so easy during the shut lockdowns on COVID to shut places of worship down, to make them shut their doors without much fuss or muss. Your pastor and congregations, oh yeah, we need this. Where what they needed was their faith and their spirituality. I'm a very spiritual individual. No, I'm not a Christian, but I'm very spiritual. And I respect all forms of spirituality and beliefs. Because that has been the number one weapon they've used against us since the beginning. It's the easiest way to divide people, put people against each other, and segregate and separate, and conquer, and control. And that's what they do with everything. Repetition, repetition. Fear. And you should be conquering your fear. Not giving people power over you. The only person should have power is you. You control your mental thoughts, not somebody else. You control your actions. But they subliminally did for psychological warfare by using a word like trans. How many times do we hear trans before we actually heard transgender? 6-7 years before they started pushing transgenderism. It was bills, Trans-Pacific, Transatlantic, Trans-Pacific Pipeline. They made you numb to the word trans. Next thing you know, they're pushing another agenda. Everything is planned out, mapped out 10, 20, 15 years, 5 years before they actually put it in your face of what they're actually doing. It's a mental game. It's a mind game. That's why I love Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. It is about the mind. Everything we do is about our mind. It's about our spirituality. It's about our psychological aspects of this. Because that's how they manipulate you and influence you and control you. The things that are happening when DOJ labeled parents domestic terrorists because they're standing up to the school boards. Should never be allowed in this society, in this country. That should have been immediate. Oh no, it's time you guys get put in check. You guys get removed from your positions. Those of you leave it. In fact, in the DOJ, FBI, CIA, and these various branches of alphabet agencies, politics is not supposed to be a part of their agencies. They're there to uphold their oath and do their jobs and laws, not what a politician tells them, or not because they're using police because this person's president and this person's not, or this congressman or woman's Republican or Democrat or whatever label you want to give them. No, that is not their place. When they take positions in those places, in those agencies, they're to do their jobs and not base their ideology and actions on political rhetoric. You know, church and state was supposed to be kept separate because there were several reasons behind that. One, we didn't want what happened to our founding fathers' ancestors, and some of them that happened in Europe, where the churches controlled everything. If you opposed the church, you were an enemy of the king, enemy of the crown. In a certain country, that's what the Crusades were all about. It was a religious war to promote one religion over the other, saying ours is right, yours is wrong, you're evil. But it also became a greed thing. It was about stealing their wealth and riches. That's why so many of our religious texts are very similar. This was mostly name changes. Like I said, you remove the dogma from religion. Religion's not a bad thing. It's the dogma that corrupts it. It's the people that want to control that corrupt it. That's why I don't like using the word religion. It's spirituality. We're all spiritual beings. We're all human beings. That's why no race should never be an issue. We're all human beings. We're all brothers and sisters of a world, of countries, of our nations. But yet we allow these politicians to push. Everything's got to be racism. Everything's got to be hate. Oh, you're Caucasian. You're white. You're evil. No, we're not. We're humans. Judgmental problems. They turned us into a judgmental society. In a sense, we kind of got away from our tribalism because we're now judgmental. Because tribalism is community in a form. It's a group of people that's living and working together with a form of some type of higher hierarchy that helps create laws and enforce laws. Now, we can't have a lawless society because it's not in our nature. We have to have laws. We have to have morals. And we're in a moralist society because of our judgmentalism. You know, I had the privilege of growing up between two different countries. Cultures were different. What's acceptable down there is not acceptable up here. What's shown on TV down there, some of us would probably consider soft porn. This is back in the 90s and 80s. So where back then you're lucky to hear somebody swear and say shit. Now, I mean, fuck, you dick. It's like more side nudity is cool. We didn't even see that. If you did, it was rated R. We've even changed what we think of that. I mean, to each their own. Like I said, I grew up both ways. It's culture. But our culture's changed. You know, some people, that's me. I have 50-50 on it. So I think it's good and I think it's bad in certain ways. There's been a lot of good things come from it. It's helped break things, but then we've seen movements get changed to where they want to keep certain restrictions. And of course, certain gender above the other, and we're supposed to be equal. We've come a long ways from the original feminist movements, civil rights movements, but we've also watched many of those movements here in the last 10 years get twisted and have a completely different meaning now. You know, things have changed. That's because people allow their groups to get infiltrated, and by people that want to push these agendas of division and fear and hate to divide people further. And when there's not enough people speaking out about what they're seeing, especially within the original movement of the groups, that's why they wait time. You know, because once the people get older, they don't talk about it when they pass away. So it's easier to change the meaning of what the movement stood for because there's no way to oppose it from what the original ones that stood for. So much of this is common sense. We're close. We're approaching that hour mark. So if it does drop out, give me a few. I'll be right. It'll go right back on. I'll go anywhere. So I don't think anybody's actually watching or listening. So, but now I can't trust anything analytically from YouTube. It's never accurate because it's not going to show me from where the place I posted this who's actually watching it on those platforms. So. You know, eventually I'd like to get to where I could stream live on all these platforms, but it costs money, and I know it's a lot. You know, I use the tools that are available. Like you said, I always back everything up, re-upload them to Internet Archive Line, get a few things that build up. That way I have another place in case I get struck down, then I can just go replace my links and right there, bring it back up. You know, so I got to talk about censorship. Yeah, they're already talking about it. They're going to start cracking down. So, don't be shocked. You see the my other little favorite background. You know what I say? Fuck your censorship. Set and spin. When you reach the elbow, the ride's over. You're not going to tread on my freedom of speech. And I'm not stubborn asshole that's not going to go away. I will keep coming back to more and more. Because that's the other problem. We've had this talk various times. Here recently it's been brought back up. I've seen a few people that used to be on D Live, they've come crawling back to YouTube. And a lot of people, you know, kind of went over to Rumble. It's like, it doesn't matter. The point is, you gotta learn to take a stand. And that starts right where you're at, where you built your audience. It's okay to venture out and get new audiences. It's a different niche, it's a different platform. You're going to reach new people. That's good. You should be doing it. Don't forget your base. Don't forget where you started from. Don't forget your community. That's what you guys are. The 80-some people that subscribe to this channel, which I don't want no more. Because that's how they get you. Once you get numbers, you draw attention. Big bullseye. I know, I've been doing this for, 7 or 8 years now. No strikes, no community guideline violations, never been taken down. Why? I'm a nobody. But I'm not. Because I get all these views on all these different platforms that's not showing my analytics. If you guys don't believe me, I've got videos on here to show you, where I broke it down and showed you the statistics. And I'm getting thousands of views over on the mine. Yeah, Twitter, various other spots I was using. You know, never left YouTube. And I've always took a stand. Open my platform up to those that want to speak out about it or if they get censored. I had Facebook, Newt Marie's Facebook page because of a video we did from Sons and Daughters of Liberty. But the funny thing was, I posted the very same video on her page and my page. I had less people over there, so you got ignored. But got hers permanently removed. Her page permanently removed and banned. All because of one video. These things that were said. There's no place for that. There's no way to fight it either. Other than create a new page. And that's where things need to change. But it's never going to change. There is going to be never that perfect site. No matter how much we wish it, want it, even the mind censor of it. They have their jury. You violate the terms of service. Or you get a bunch of haters that want to hate and keep bitching and complaining. Eventually, they're going to get a jury that's consistent with those haters. And guess what? You got to get your shit removed from lies. But you appeal it. At least there, there's steps you can take to get the right form. You know, just like me and Bree had a discussion last night about likes, dislike. I love the dislike button. And don't really hit it for anybody else. But I loved it when I seen somebody hit dislike. I'm like, maybe I was doing my job. It means I triggered somebody. I made them question and think. I don't care how many likes I get. I want to know the ones that I triggered, the ones that I made question something. That tells me I'm doing my job. It tells me I'm doing my job when we get people come in the chat and chat with us. And we exchange information, ideas, our thoughts, our opinions. We learn from each other. That's one of the things I love about YouTube is the live chat. There's been plenty of podcasts where we share a live chat going, and it's awesome. But that's the advantage of being small. Having a few subscribers, I'm able to freely interact. My chat ain't going a mile a minute. So we can interact with people. You know, I've got the tools now, streaming from the minds like I am right now. I'm able to invite you guys over. I'm able to allow you to call in. Yes, we've had issues with that. That's why I've removed the numbers and stuff from the description. But if you ask for it in the chat room, I'll give it to you. Or if you DM me on Twitter, Facebook, Minds, wherever I'm at. Good morning, Bree. Hope you're feeling better. Now, I've been waiting for this thing to cut out and have it. Oh, I'm not at the hour mark. Never mind. I was looking at the Minds. I was actually set things up. I was over there for a little bit longer. But you know, it's these things that we just keep allowing people to pit us against each other. And we allow why are you listening to that person? They're wrong. They're fake news. They're conspiracy theorists. Or whatever label we want to use because we disagree with them. That's what it is. We disagree with their views and opinions, so we label them. We're calling them evil. And they're not. They have an opinion and view. Yes, some of them are way out there and wrong. But how do we know if we're not questioning? How do we know if we're not listening? There might be something there where we might be wrong. But without that conversation, that debate, that sharing of information, we never question it. We never question if we're wrong. We're just saying they are. So we tune out. We don't listen. That's how we've gotten to this point. Really, it is. We have forgotten how to communicate amongst ourselves, to have conversations, to have dialogue, to have intellectual debates. Because now we're taught we can't. It triggers people. It offends people. You're fake news. You're whatever. You're a conspiracy theorist. Everybody should be a goddamn conspiracy theorist. Because if you're a conspiracy theorist, you're questioning everything. I love pseudoscience. I love string theory physics. Because it's the questioning. Alright, go back. That YouTube actually sped it up. Normally I've got like a couple, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get it switched back over. They already threw up the your dad. No, Dad, your stream will be turned off shortly, terminated shortly, or whatever. That algorithm getting hit. But we got to have those conversations, those debates. There's no such thing as a conspiracy theorist. There's no such thing as a leftist, rightist. This is a label. It has no meaning other than the meaning that we give it to divide us from the other people. You got to use your heads, guys. You got to quit listening to those that tell you you have to be this. No, if you want me to be that I definitely don't want to be. Because that's not me. That's not who I am. We're each individuals. We each have our own personalities, our own beliefs, our own opinions, our own views. We all live different lives. Nobody has lived the same life. We all grew up different. Those are what makes us each unique individuals. That's what makes us human. What strips away that humanity, that our identity, let's use identity, that's what they're stripping away, that uniqueness, is when we create labels that give other people control over us, that influence our thoughts and actions. That's what we got to stop. That's what we got to break. When Bree jumps in here, I am going to step away for a bit. I need to drink some the liquid IV water. I had my first glass today, my first drink today. But I tell you what, guys, this is actually good. I got to be careful with the electrolytes, but this liquid IV hydration multiplier, that's actually really good. It definitely has helped me stay hydrated. I felt I've added more energy since drinking it. It's non-GMO, and sugar. It's got a little bit of salt, but it also has potassium, magnesium. I'm actually going to be adding this to my everyday repertoire. More because it's definitely helped me. Like I said, I don't know why this last couple of weeks I've had hard. I mean, I've drank water. I've actually went through 3 cases of water in less than a week and a half. I did not stay hydrated. So that's why I probably shouldn't have drank coffee. I didn't even cut my pop down. Instead of having 3, I have 1. But I definitely felt better. So drinking just still be doing 2 glasses a day. Just drink 1 in the morning and 1 towards evening. So that felt great. My sleeping was off because of the steroid they got me on, which is another reason why I'm enjoying the water hydration with an IV water. It definitely, that steroid kind of dehydrates you too. They've got me kind of a higher dosage than the last time I wanted. But I am still on the inhaler. Like I said, you gotta take the good with the bad. This year's not been great, especially been going on a year because my respiratory issues started in October, which is, I had COVID back when it first came out, right before we really knew what it was, and it kind of damaged my lungs. I'm finally getting better. Like I said, I was feeling great. I was finally healthy, but it only takes one sinus infection and they figured I probably did have strep a couple of weeks ago and didn't notice it. Or didn't go to the doctor when I first noticed my throat was raw and sore. But I work. I mean, and they say my hours work, the hours that I work hasn't done me no justice. But I do 11-hour days instead of doing normal 10. But I need those extra 4 hours and change to cover bills. Plus, it keeps my stress down because I don't come into with stuff piled up. Or otherwise, I'd be spending the first 2 hours of my shift playing catch up when I only got maybe 20 minutes for stuff comes off the line that's coming up to the scales. And I can't, you know, got one raptor and two scales. One scale works only half the time. So I need everything cleared out for new stuff to come in. So I do what I do. And like I said, it helps pay the bills. A little extra 4 hours might not seem much, but it's actually quite a little bit. And you pay out the overtime part for it. It makes a difference. I mean, it's actually my whole week check covered with is actually a rep payment. With nothing left over, but it's my rep payment. And like I said, I've got two loans. One, which my suburban loan will be paid off next year, so hoping to have it paid off this year, but being sick like I was, I had no chance to pay a little more on it to pay it off quickly, which is no biggie. It's not that expensive. Now the roof payment, on the other hand, that one hurts. That one and the rent center bills, but I'm gonna take care of the one thing, so it won't be 200 and something. It'll just be 111 since I'm paying a month. Then come October, I'll pay off the washer and dryer. Just take a check and pay it off. Because by then we'll be down enough to where our check will cover it. I mean, yeah, rent center, errands, and those places are nice, but it's a gimmick, it's a trick, because you're actually paying more than what it's worth. Like the little DVD player and entertainment player, that's center I got. If I would have just paid cash right then and there for it, I probably would have saved myself a couple $100. Basically, I paid about $200 more than what it was worth. Same way with the washer and dryer. But it is nice because we don't all have. I know I didn't have enough. Now I wish I'd have bought the speakers I wanted to, Bluetooth speaker, Ions. I think it was the Ion. No, it was the JBLs I was going to get. Mainly because I can use it as an amp for when I get electric. I've got an amp for it, or my Bluetooth. But new place. I wanted a nice entertainment system that had Blu-ray, 4K DVD player. And I like LG products, so and it's nice. And I've actually got other purposes for it. I just am going to get a projector just for the gazebo at my parents' house, and we'll take it over there, set up a projector. So that's originally my idea for it. And like I said, on my parents' house, that was my future investment. make it now. It needs done. Never. I don't have the time to get up on the roof anymore to do things like that. Oh, I don't have. Most of my friends live in other states, so and it's a metal roof, so why not have professionals do it? I mean, like I said, the warranty I got on it will be me and maybe one of my brother's kids or whoever I give the house to or sell the house to. They'll get the same warranty for them for their lifetime. So I might have paid a little much for it, but so they needed it. Like I said, and it just means there are only a couple things that left that it really needs done. Foundation needs to be jacked up, and electrical needs to be done. So, then other minor miscellaneous, all carpet is removed. But that's things I can do. I got it down to stuff that I made. Then I have my own property in place. Hopefully not very time soon. Granted, better than renting, but I like to rent for a little bit. Obviously, I probably should get pulled back closer to home, but right now it's not in the cards. And right now, I enjoy where I'm at, believe it or not. I love the area I'm in. I'm not in town, I'm just right outside of town. I can still look across the highway here, which is kind of like interstate, to see farmland, farms. So, yeah, I'm good. Nothing spot choices with that. I living in my parents' house. I had the whole upstairs to myself. 2 rooms, a loft. Basically, it's turned it into a, a loft bedroom and a deck that I created, which I needed to switch around because the one room was bigger than the other. But this is one of those things. So basically, I had my own apartment upstairs. It's just no, I want to be away. I want my freedom. But eventually, I was more able to let my parents out. They're up there in age. Obviously, I'm 44. When they needed, I still do. My dad asked, if I'll come out on the weekend, help you out, or I'll get up earlier, help you out. That's what we should be doing. We should help our families out when they need it. Help our friends out when we need it. When they need it. And I'll never turn down a friend for any help. Obviously, I spent many years in North Carolina. But that was beneficial to me as well. And honestly, maybe one day I might just probably get property and get property down in North Carolina, up in the mountains, or start saving up so I can buy some land down, which ain't cheap anymore. It's not really cheap at all. 10 acres is expensive down in those mountains. But it's another investment. Hey, Bree.
And good morning.
I'm
I would
good.
have joined from the computer, but I'm waiting for a stupid delivery man to find my house.
I'm gonna let you talk for a bit so I can make some IV water and get a pack of cigarettes.
Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. Y'all know me. Hopefully, y'all don't hate me. Hope everybody is having a fantabulous Friday. Kind of a rare Friday morning podcast with Drew, Sons and Daughters of Liberty, and even more infrequent, myself. Um, yeah, it's definitely an interesting day. I've missed the last hour, but it's all fine, great, and wonderful when you're waiting for people. It's definitely an interesting kind of day. Um, Not sure what the topics have been today so far, but I'm going to bring up something that I'm not sure if uh, Drew here has talked about it, but it's something that I've highlighted on a few times about feeling like uh, a number within the medical system and how all too often it seems like the doctors they don't respect your wishes or your concerns at any level. They just do whatever. It's not that it's yeah the medical system it is corporate, but it seems like you're pushed around like rats in a maze, especially with the larger medical systems. You're just whatever they want done is pretty much the gospel of how it's going to be done, and no matter how you feel or how you think or what your belief structure is, it is what it is. And you know the little guy always seems to get shit on, and you know why do I bring this up now rather than talk about it down the road? Well, I've something that I've dealt with before, and not it's never worked well for me in the past, and yeah, it's not working real well for me in the moment. But like everything else, it is about. Um, I won't say it's about perception, but it absolutely is. Um, the perception of how you interpret what's going on at, at at absolutely any level. Um, but cat, get back. But we also absolutely see this in pretty much every area of the corporate world. It is the medical system corporate? Absolutely. Absolutely, it's corporate. Um, is it a situation that we can have any say to change? I don't know. Um, I honestly don't know where to go with this one. Um, you can fight about it, you can argue about it, but at the end of the day, if you create too much stink, well, welcome back, Drew. You can argue and complain about it,
But
but at the end of the day, um, if the system don't like what you're saying or how you're saying it, they're just going to kick you out of that system and tell you go find a different medical provider. And I've already experienced that more than once.
well, yeah, the whole medical system's controlled.
Oh, absolutely. But it's this the way that it's of course it's corporate, but it seems as though that we have absolutely zero say, no matter what, and they're going to do whatever they're going to do, and who gets the screw job in the end. um you know Even and it wouldn't surprise anybody, I don't think, to say that I don't advocate very well for myself, because I think you probably anybody who knows me knows that I'm not the type that would just lay down and roll over and let them do or say whatever they want to do or say. I'm absolutely going to speak what is on my mind, and usually it doesn't go well. Um, but most of the time it does. Half the time though, it actually doesn't go that well for me. And I don't think I'm the only one that is feeling this way at this moment. I just, is kind of interesting that I'm talking about the dysfunctional medical system. Did you see what Hollywood posted?
Yeah, I just now recreated it.
How synchronistic is that? That um, we're both on the same page here. Just how screwed up this uh, system
Well,
really is. You
no,
know.
no, the best one on that for the week was Fauci agreeing with the CDC and how the CDC and said they need to make changes because they mishandled the situation of COVID and
Oh,
information wise is wrong. And they did based on his suggestion. So therefore, what Fauci is actually saying is that he was wrong. But he's not admitting to it. He's admitting to the fact that the CDC needs to make the changes that they had it wrong. They took their fucking cues and leads from him.
well, speaking of that whole bunch, there's one obvious person, um, the elephant in the room, who has mysteriously disappeared from public eye, and you know who I'm talking about. You and I have talked about this in the green room.
Actually, I don't remember.
Um, Bird,
Who?
Admiral Bird,
Oh yeah.
completely disappeared from public eye, completely. And and I really didn't want to draw much attention to that situation, but it's let's call it out here, and you know, yeah, they got it wrong, but at the same in the same vein, um, I think they're trying to get on the right side, but at the same token, who paid the price? Pretty much everybody uh, paid the price on this one, and we're still paying it. I actually seen something the other day um, that was rather, I'm not going to say um, alarming, but I'm going to say alarming at the same token, um, that uh, it was in the fact that because this situation is so bad that they should have went to a 15-foot right out the gate. That's what they're saying. And when I went back to look for their statement from their own website, do you think I could actually find it?
No.
Yeah, I was like, what? Um, and the tweet is now gone. The news source that actually asked question about it, that is gone. Everything about it is gone. So and you seen what I retweeted? I don't know. Maybe you retweeted it first. About I don't know if you because I just got in here. I was trying to take care of the fur balls and whatnot. That little spiel from Pitbull.
Yes, I
And
retweeted that sometime last night.
and
Before I woke up.
you know, I'm trying to stay out of that conspiratorial world, but you know, 201 it is um, the timing, everything. It's it's very difficult to um, I never really drew the parallel to it, and it's just too convenient. And the fact that I completely missed that one, that should say something. If I miss something, how often do I usually miss something?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I don't generally miss it. I miss certain things, but to miss that one really says something. You know, I completely missed the tie-in of it, and to see where we went. And you and I in 19, we were both sick at the same time, give or take a week. And so, I mean, it's and nobody to pick up on it. It's rather suspicious at best. Now, my question, I guess, to you. Now, you and I have discussed the numbers thing that, um, and I was talking to a friend of mine over in Europe, uh, and she never drew a correlation to this, but she came up with a theory that from the time we are about 4 months old in the womb, a number is already being allocated to us um, by now she's never been to the United States. She's never really done a real deep dive into this. And I got to thinking about this over the last 2 weeks. Is it feasibly possible that at about 4 months, our Social Security number has already been determined? I saw that. I saw that.
Well, yeah.
um,
That's, I mean, not that I'm going to, people talk about the mark of the beast. Not that I go there. I have my own takes on ideology of prophecy, my own opinions there, but that is the true mark of the beast because it's just not. We have a social security number, but there's another term for it that's used in like Australia, Britain. I can't remember what it's called. But everybody in the world is issued some form of a number. That's your identity. I mean, I remember you grew up, same around, we're close, similar. You're older, so. But, we grew up around the same time. So, like Rob, he's older than me. But we're all Gen Xers.
well, you're Gen X. I'm pre that. I'm
Yeah.
baby boom.
Oh, damn. You are ancient.
I'm 50, man. Give me a break.
I guess the. Okay. Liquid IV and coffee don't mix.
I have something other than just coffee going already today.
No, I can't because the prescription's out. Trust me, I would love to. I'd love to finish this Captain Morgan off. Just
What
so
do you
I
think is in my coffee?
just so I can. Yeah, oh, that's what it's usually for. That's why I bought it. Was to put in my coffee.
Oh,
Nothing wrong with a little spiced rum in your coffee.
right.
But no, I mean, we remember back in the day where the cop pulled you over and you didn't have your driver's license or your wallet on you. All you had to do is give your social security number. That's your identity. That's who you are. Nowadays, they don't even care about your social security number. Everything's on the driver's license. Even though I'm pretty sure it's still federal law that your social security number is your identity, because it is. It's how you pay taxes. That's what they use for your taxes and all this lovely crap. It is you. I can't remember the term for the other. It's some kind of paper. But everybody is issued a number. It's scary. It's just like your computers at your home is issued a number. It's issued an IP address. So, you know, you plug that computer in at your house, and when you run through all your startups and hook up your internet to it logs its IP address. That computer is now registered under that IP. Your phone is
Actually,
registered under
can
IP.
I correct you? Can I correct you there, Drew?
Actually, I am right on that one. Yes, if you plug in
Um,
somewhere else and you somewhere else, you are on a different IP, but you're not, because in your system, your original IP is still in your computer system, still logged in and files on your.
actually, it goes by the IMEI number of the device.
No, you are trackable by your IP,
Well, yeah, the
which
IP,
then the
but
IP is registered under the IMEI of that computer. That way, when they go in through the
true
back
statement.
doors, on your computer, they can pull up everywhere that computer has been IP address that's been logged into. So your computer, your laptops, your phones are trackable. No matter where you go. Obviously, I've proven that with the phone.
Yeah.
So, that's why, even hackers bounce their stuff off various different areas. And truthfully, most hackers, they build their computer from scratch. So it's not really factory, but I mean, the information's there. You are trackable. Like everybody says, everywhere you go, you leave a digital footprint. As soon as you go to a website, you're leaving a digital footprint. You've been there. It is what it is, but that's how don't we talk about freedom. That's how much freedom we don't have. We don't have control or say of these things. Did you catch the tweet I retweeted last night about the Mac, iPhone, Apple phone?
Oh, the vulnerabilities.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that update way before that.
But what most people don't know, all your third-party apps open the gateway and door to your computer, regardless of what platform you're running. So that's why people don't get it when what everybody, those that built websites or use integration to connect Facebook, Twitter to your website, link your fucking buttons. It's all done from one thing. It's a Google thing. Or no, you create it on Facebook too.
Well,
But
here,
that is a third party. You research this. Those are all third-party apps, not owned by Google or Facebook, that anybody can actually get into the back door of them and get your information.
well, I actually
So it
had
don't matter the platform you're on. It actually doesn't matter the antivirus program you're running, because you allow those third-party apps to run on your computer.
I was actually talking with somebody in Apple while back, because I had with the previous phone I had, not this one. I'm running a newer phone, now, but I was talking to somebody in R&D about this very topic, and they freely admitted to me some pretty sketchy things about the way that their updates are rolling out. That um, theoretically, an argument could be waged that, like with security updates, they could actually be anywhere from 7 to 10 days behind the 8 ball. And I'm like, seriously? And he said, to be fair, he said, it really doesn't matter if you're on Droid or on iPhone. The average is 7 to 10 days. And this guy admitted that he had worked for we're going to call it a popular phone that is out on the market. Um, I'm not going to say which brand before coming to the Apple family. Um, he worked there before coming to work for Apple. And it was pretty much the same thing there, too. That they were 7 to 10 days once a threat was detected for them to come up with an answer. I mean, we're talking Apple. It's supposed to be on the very front line of everything, and they're still 7 to 10 days. Yeah, that's scary.
It's actually long. They're lucky if it's in that time frame because
And
usually by the time you get a security update, the threat's already been there before they are aware of it. That's why they create the security updates, where the threat's already happened.
Yep.
So
and the other big phone, and it's not LG, it's one of the big ones, and so you extrapolate out from there, and their timeline is right in that same vein. It is 7 to 10 days.
Really, there's only three big ones: iPhone, Samsung.
You hit it.
And Google. I mean, I know a lot of people like their Google phone. I don't.
That one actually, Google. Google actually, it's 14 to 21 days.
Which is fucked up. You think how big Google is as a corporation and how many people they have employed. It shouldn't take that long to write up a security code and updated software parameters for it. But but it goes back to how much information is shared.
Right.
And it goes back to what I talked about Ning in the 6-hour video, how we had that child pornography going on Ning platform, on an adult or a gay adult platform with a 9-year-old kid. Yeah, the headaches we went through that. We were a close-knit community, several website builders and site owners. We shared information. We shared, the spammers. We had a list. We created a list that we shared amongst ourselves. In fact, we had a group that we created that admins of brothers and sister sites that we're affiliated with. We put all that information in this group, and every site owner, and admin of those sites had access to that group, and we'd update it. We'd periodically get together twice, 2 to 3 times a month and talk about it. As soon as a new one came up, we'd email each other and let them know. It was how we kept our sites pretty much clean. But then you're dealing with corporations and companies that, to them, no, we're not going to share information with you. You're our competition. That's why it goes back to what I said. Our corporations, it's just as bad as our government, because our government's become a corporation. Well, yeah, our government's been a corporation because, we're a capitalist country. But, we use and abuse the practice of capitalism. Instead of it benefiting everybody the way, it was theorized. Everything in theory is great until it's put into practice. Then they get used and abused by people that are greedy and corrupt. You know, it's just another broken system. There is no perfect system. No matter where you go, there's no such thing as a perfect system. We're all, and then there's no such thing as a utopian society. It can never happen. It never will happen. It actually violates universal law. You have to have opposition. You have to have opposing factors. We have that dual nature in us. We're good and bad. We're both. It's in our natures. It's in our primal natures. You can try to weed out all the evil and bad in the world, and it's just like a mythical hydra. Chop off one head to grow in its place. Because it has to be there. It's part of the universal law of things. Because it's what promotes growth. You can't get rid of it. Because we're all unique. We're all unique individuals. We all have our own beliefs, our own opinions, our own views. We all have had a different walk in life that's shaped those views, opinions, morals, and all that. That is different from others. Yes, we might have commonality in some things, but not all things. And the more you experience, the more you learn. You know, somebody, I think it was Ian from Temple. He made a quote about talking about knowledge and wisdom. Why it's so important to be wise and have wisdom. Well, you don't get wisdom without knowledge. You don't get knowledge without and you get knowledge. You don't get wisdom through knowledge because you have to experience it. As you experience it and learn, it goes back to what I'm saying about labels. How we let labels control us, divide us, and separate us, and categorize us. We're being put in a label and we're not growing to become wise. We're failing to experience the things that's going to change that knowledge we have to make it wisdom, to make it something we've lived, experienced, refined through trials and mistakes, through successes. It's those mistakes and successes that eventually turn into wisdom. It's having conversations on topics that we're not comfortable with, or things that might trigger us, because we're afraid to admit we got something wrong. We have the
I would
knowledge.
love. He would be one. I would actually love to sit down and have a discussion with, because um, he is so open minded and so
He's very open-minded. Although he
right.
needs to get off the. Oh, no, I'm not even gonna say that because he's
He,
got a very open mind and he questions things and talk. He'll go out there. He'll go way out there.
oh yeah,
But it makes you
but
think. And I love listening to him. Yes, I thought about it, but I'm a nobody, so reaching out to hey, you want to come on my project? It never happened because he's busy doing the stuff that he's doing, which is I respect. But I would actually love not even to do a podcast. I'd love to sit down with him for a half hour to an hour, which would probably turn into
3 hours.
no, it'd probably turn into a couple of day thing.
Right. I mean, he's so deep and so um
It's just like
so knowledgeable.
with the other person, which I did. We did do a podcast, but somehow my OBS didn't want to fucking stream it. We thought we were live for 2 hours via the people's perspective. Oh my
Yeah,
God, her mind. The things we talked about, man, I was so mad. It didn't even record, so I didn't have it. And oh my God, the conversation that was supposed to be my 200th podcast, right? I got her to do it, and man, I still want to do another podcast with her. It's just like I want to do a couple more with Hollywood Stinks. because she's or Hollywood hates me, whatever.
But there's so many of those people um, that they're yeah even um, over on FSPN, I rather like staying in that the weeds because being smaller does help, but at the same token, just sitting down and having a good discussion with some of these people, whether it's on the record or off the record, um, that the level of honesty and candor you just don't get on the regular, and I think it's um, very. Not only is it a breath of fresh air, but I think it is actually needed in a lot of aspects. And I missed um, the last 15 or so shows because I've been dealing with so much, and I just haven't had the time to go back and listen to so many of them. But the Seamus is another good one. That'd be good to talk with too.
Hmm.
Well, he has his good points and he has his bad points, but
I mean, it'd be a great conversation, but it wouldn't be no. It wouldn't be. To me, I like these people that make me think, that question things. There's some things he talks about, yes, but me and
I'll
him
tell you
both.
the one that would
Me and
really
him,
be
if he could put his religious views
yeah, and
to the
that's the
side
thing.
and keep it on a spiritual level in conversation, or just not talk about religion, which he's very religious. I respect that, but it's not something that's me. It's like no. So I was going to say about Ian here lately. He got to the point where he talks about. Am I unmuted? Okay, yeah, yeah. Where he talks about, people talking about questioning things about God and shit, which is cool. It's interesting, but it's when I'm listening to a podcast, it's not something I want to hear all the time.
Right. But I mean, there are a few people that I would like to have a sit down with and have open dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's why I originally started watching Tim Pool's. It wasn't because I agreed with him. In fact, it was back then he was, you know, I liked the way he did things. He questioned both sides of things, but it was in that general area where he was more opposite of my ideology and thoughts. But he gave both sides. That's what I like. I want somebody that's going to talk and give both sides. It's not just going to talk about the same echo chamber stuff. Right? I mean, right now everything's an echo chamber, which I think that's something I'm going to kind of get away from for a bit. I don't want to be the echo chamber. Yes, we'll still talk about some current things. I want to get back to where we originally were with this channel. I want to get back to talking about psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, the tools that they use against us. I think it's needed now more than ever. Now than ever.
I would agree with that.
There's just so many topics when it comes to that. Discussion of memes, what a meme really is. It's sigil logic. Talk about repetition, how they influence us in view. trick is the more we educate people on that, excuse me, the more people will understand and get to be able to see it before it influences them. That's why they wanted to make trigger and offending, use those words the way they did to get people away from that, so they won't talk about these touchy subjects. I mean, it was designed because now you're worried about triggering somebody because you can get suspended or you get a strike, put them in Facebook jail, timed out. They did it for a reason, so we couldn't have intellectual conversations and have these debates on various topics because, well, if I trigger that person, they're going to report me and I'm going to lose my channel. So people start shying away from it. That's a form of psychological warfare. Because now you start controlling the information, the narrative, the status quo that's being talked about, which further created and deepened these echo chambers. Because we'll get in this echo chamber, we're not going to leave it because they're saying everything we want to hear. They're not saying things we don't want to hear, therefore we're not questioning what's being said. Then most people won't interact in chat rooms because they're afraid somebody will get triggered and somebody's going to go off on them. Or they're going to get banned from the chat. They're all tools that they use against us. I think explaining those things, pointing them out, breaking down the mechanisms is important and needed. But that's something I like to get other people involved with as well. Just not me, you, get Rob involved, Hollywood involved, a few others. People that see these things or have a different perspective because there's so much that's used in this form of warfare. The one thing I have, me, I hate saying this. The one thing Alex Jones ever got right, and same way with Repair Mind, is it is a battle for your mind. It's a battle to control your identity, control your information, to control you. I've discussed, what is your computers, your TVs, your phones, the black mirrors. They're gateways. They're doorways. They're actually gateways and doorways to your subconscious. That's why these algorithms that they've created, and these AIs that they've created, okay, so my plumbing problems wasn't my issue. Then that set up. I was wondering, why shouldn't I not have no plumbing issues? You see, they got plumbers out here with the snake. They would snake up septic or something. Yeah, I fucking bought a screen so I can keep my door open. Help cool the trailer down. But those are the things I think I want to get back to personally. Those are the things where I have fun. Don't get me wrong. I want to keep it within our history and what Sons and Daughters of Liberty is. Because that is what it is. I can go clear back to our founding fathers, Jefferson, my ancestor, John Rutledge, Thomas Paine, how they used the printing press and newspapers to promote propaganda, to do propaganda. And it's just not, it goes clear down to the town criers of the courts. They'll come out and issue this proclamations in the court, in the street, to the people. They knew how to use propaganda to control people. They know how to use their words, how to influence. That's why the old saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. And it is. The person knows how to use their words, know how to apply the right amount, the right frequency and vibration to their speech, can turn a quiet crowd into a mob. It is scary to know how much power you have with your voice. And it's been slowly stripped away from people. Censorship does that. You take people's freedom of speech away. You take away their ability to have a voice, to have influence, to be able to make change, to rise somebody up when they're down. And these are the things we need to get back to. We need to get away from what we've been indoctrinized. There's many factors involved in those things that we have to look at. Most people become fearful of being able to express themselves. Now, we have the ability to take back control. We just got to have that discussion, point it out. And there's going to be people that aren't even going to agree with you. That's, that's BS. That don't happen. That doesn't matter. Remember what I said about planting seeds. Once a person hears something, they can't take back what they heard. It might be 5 months from now, 5 years from now, 15 years from now, but eventually something's going to trigger them. And they're going to remember that conversation, what was said. And guess what? It's going to make a huge change in their life. Maybe at the time when we talked about it, they weren't ready to hear it. Everybody is different. Everybody learns and grows different. But the information and knowledge isn't out there, then no change and growth can happen. So yes, I want to get back to some of those things. And so I don't have much time anymore to do these podcasts like I used to. And it really, it's all basically how do I feel every week on the weekend. How tired am I? Fridays, normally I get home. I'm usually up 2 or 3 o'clock. I'll make something to eat and rest until I fall asleep. And I usually don't get up till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And if it was a long, stressful week, I'm usually Saturdays. I do my running, and usually by the time I'm done, I'm still tired. So it's been hit or miss on podcasts. So I've been playing around with these earlier times. Right now, it seems to be when I'm more awake and active. Here late, come 6 o'clock, I'm usually passed out asleep. Which is weird considering I usually get up at 6 o'clock to go to work and get ready to eat, get ready for work, to be at work at 8:30. But on the weekends, it's like complete opposite. 6 o'clock rolls around, I'm crashed out.
Yeah, I know how that kind of feels. Sorry, I'm kind of watching for my delivery person at the same time and trying to multitask. I'm not doing well with both. Um,
But you know, and I'm great at multitasking, but that's how I know I'm still Still fairly safe.
But I need to bounce here. I got a couple things I needed to get done yet
Right.
this morning
This
before
we're
it
at the
gets.
2 hour mark, so it's gonna shut off here anyway. So I'm gonna end it there.
Alrighty. Y'all know where to find me. I'm gonna try to go live maybe this evening if I'm up to it. Um, Otherwise, I will catch y'all when I catch you. Y'all have a great one.
You guys enjoy your weekend. Be safe. I don't know if I'm doing another podcast. I'm thinking about it, planning on it, but no promises. Whenever I do it, I do it. But you guys all enjoy your weekend. Step away from the TVs or phones. Get outside. Take a break from things. You'll appreciate it. You guys have fun.
Catch y'all on the rebound.